Okay, so we are reconvening the regular council meeting. It is 6 p.m. And we will start the next session. The first item on the agenda is the council meeting minutes for approval. We have two council meeting minutes. One is the public hearing for June the 9th, 2025, and the other one is the regular council meeting minutes of June 9th, 2025.
I'll recuse myself, please.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Hanson. Is there someone that would like to make that motion? Thank you, Councillor Martin and Councillor Wilson. All those in favor? Thank you. I should pull that up. No, no. So resolutions from June 9th, 2025, committee of the whole meeting to be considered for adoption. And the first one is the resolution that council consider and resolve to receive the information of the bylaw enforcement report, May 2025. Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Is there a seconder, please? Councillor Cashall, all those in favor? Resolution from the June 23rd, 2025 committee of the whole meeting to be considered for adoption. So we do have some of those to bring forward. The first one that we will be bringing forward tonight is the West Kootenay Minor Softball Association Haley Park batting cage. And the recommendation is that council approve the West Kootenay Minor Softball Association request to install a batting cage at Haley Park, and further that council authorize staff to enter into a lease agreement as attached to the report dated June 23rd, 2025. WKMSA Haley Park batting cage lease agreement with the addition of the schedules to be confirmed upon signing. Council Wilson, thank you. And Council Martin, is in favor. That's carried, thank you. The other one is the unsightly premises at 1125 Tamarack Avenue. We've had this report previously in the committee of the whole. So now we're just moving it to regular. So can I have someone make a recommendation to thank you, Councillor Butler and Councillor Wilson? All those in favor? Thank you, that was carried. And the next item that we have is the Kootenay South Métis application for rental waiver. And the recommendation is, and this is just confirming the recommendation that we had in the committee of the whole. The recommendation is that council consider the application from the Kootenay South Métis for a rental waiver in the amount of $268.95 for their use of the Gyro Park, the gazebo, tables and chairs on June 22nd, 2022 for the annual Indigenous Day celebration. Councillor Wilson, thank you, and Councillor Martin, all those in favor? Carried, thank you. And the next one is. I didn't that one. 16. 16, thank you. Item number 16 is the reports and meeting minutes of council meetings, committees. A resolution that council adopt the following minutes and recommendations within the Trail Regional Airport Advisory Committee draft meeting minutes for June the 3rd, 2025. I don't know if Councillor Hanson or Councillor Butler, do you want to speak to those recommendations? Okay, go ahead.
Certainly, thank you. So in those minutes there, and the committee has made a recommendation as to a letter to be sent on behalf of the city and airport committee regarding the lack of air traffic controllers to Minister Farnworth as well as Minister Freeland, and how that is when it comes down to capacity, it's actually affecting smaller regional airports such as ours more than it is the bigger airports. And then it's costing us our funding and our budgeting time because we are getting pushed back compared to other international flights. And they are dispersing and delaying smaller airlines and smaller regional airports instead. As well as their, sorry. go
Just
ahead.
about Tech will be sending a letter as well. We are the ones that are being sent by the city of Trail.
As well as, there is a recommendation that is coming forward from our, airport manager that he brought forward to our, to council or to our committee in regards to, the potential for a, a small increase in parking fees, based on the fact that we are significantly, under, the average for, airports of our size for parking fees. And so there's a recommendation, within to increase that. Which will come through as a bylaw, I believe, from, Enrico Moore, our manager.
Yeah, that would be a, and then.
Yeah.
We'll be coming forward at a later date.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so tonight we just have the one about the letter being sent.
Well, both recommendations are there,
Okay,
but the one is needs future action, where the one for the letter is just that the city send a letter on behalf of council.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Is there someone to make that motion? Thank you, Council Wilson. Council Butler. Second. All those in favor? The Trail Health and Environment Committee draft meeting, summary, May 7th, 2025. I sort of feel like we already talked about this, so it's, do you have anything to add to it, Councillor Hanson?
No, not to this,
No.
no.
Okay.
It seems so long ago. We just had a Trail Health and Environment Committee
Yeah.
meeting on this week, so.
Okay, so all those in favor of receiving those, the draft meeting minutes from May 7th, 2025, thank you. Councillor Benson and Councillor Martin, all those in favor? Thank you. So, we have the regional district report from Councillor Martin.
Just kidding. You stole my thunder. Thank you through the chair on behalf of council. I attended the following RDKB meetings. On Monday, June 16th, I attended an RDKB sponsored First Nations Cultural Competency Training in Warfield. Consultants from Strategies North, Anna Barley and Grant Barley moderated a 5.5-hour session providing participants the tools to approach engagement with local First Nations. Building strong, respectful relationships is essential for everyone. By committing to meaningful engagement, cultural competency, and ongoing learning, communities can contribute to reconciliation, enhance community resilience, and create a more inclusive and equitable future for everyone. On Tuesday, June 17th, I attended an RDKB East End Services meeting in Trail. Cam Whitehead, the Executive Director of the LCC DTS, provided an update of the committee. He also spoke of a 5-year plan, including a coordinated approach with the Trail and District Chamber of Commerce and Community Future South Kootenay. Sarah Kapoor from the Kootenay Film, she's a Kootenay Film Commissioner, provided an update of the Kootenay Film Commission. In 2023, BC's motion picture industry spent $2.3 billion in production in the province. They employed 70,744 people. And through that, there's 230 businesses which provided services to the motion picture industry. Currently, they're looking for a point person and location scouts in the RDKB for possible film locations. James Chandler, the RDKB GM of Operations and Deputy CAO, provided work plan updates for the following services: Kootenay Boundary Regional Fire Rescue, Victim Services, Regional Parks and Trails in Area B, Noxious Weed Control in Area A, and the East End Transit Services. That's it for my report. Feel free to contact me anytime if you have any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Councillor Martin? Okay. Thank you, Councillor Martin. So we'll move on to other reports, and tonight we have the 2024 annual report from our Chief Administrative Officer. Bringing forward to the City of Trail the annual report. So I'll pass it over to Mr. McCurdy.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And for council, it's always one of those challenging things that we sort of have this annual report. And it's 6 months into the new year, and many of these activities may have been forgotten from people. So it's great. I want to thank Claire Samuel for assisting on many of the photos and the verbiage that is kind of put together here. She's the catalyst of making us all get our information in on time. And I think it's a time for celebration. When I think about 2024 and all that we did accomplish, again, whether or not that's from the being supportive and assisting with getting the new shelter, temporary shelter in place, whether or not it's taking on 900 Spokane, and we know now the work that we're doing to remediate and demolish those sites for future revitalization of the downtown. But also just the finishing of the groutage and also Daniel Street to see the photo of in this document of where the wall came down, so people get an understanding of the issue that we had and the risk that was to the community, and then coming together, upgrading a number of utilities, whether that was stormwater, water and sewer, as well as just making the traffic flow work that much better. And a great looking project. I understand that it is not the fine work of Italian craftsmanship of Ross, but overall, I think it looks pretty good, and we know that as a an engineering standard, that we're in a good place, and that's what we want to do, be able to hold that road up. Obviously, there's highlights on whether it's the donation from the Murphys. Huge as far as us moving forward on the 2025 work for the rink and Kimmick Arena and doors and the sound system. But there's also the Digitus Day. There's also highlights that, again, we forget about, whether or not it's the visitor center. Number of these that, again, it's a good reminder. It's something I think that council should be proud of, being the leaders and directing staff on what they wanted to see done and making that complete. Now, one of the major factors for the annual report is the financial statement. So this is an opportunity for the public. This is something that if you wanted a copy, you can come in and get one. We will print it for you, but it is also part of the link on our website. It's passed here, and so that's one of those key documents that we want to make sure that the public is aware of all the good things that are happening here at the city. On the financial year overall, we had sort of a mixed year. We had Tech was successful in some of the reassessment appeals with BC Assessment, and that ended up they had 4 years combined, and that kind of lowered our tax revenue about $170,000. Yet in the same vein for us, we also saw the RCMP, again, underserved, undermanned, but this time the cost of the overtime was overwhelming and actually very expensive for the city. And so we've been working with our sergeant. We're fortunate to have him in our area, and he's working with us for 2025, and then staff are coming back. And so that should not be the same issue, but is one of those ones in the past where we maybe were under. Our members were lower than they should have been, but we saw surplus out of that because they internally were able to handle that this year. A number of them being close together meant that they couldn't cover each other. And so that had a cause of needs of other members from outside the area coming to join us. But that was another hit to our expense side of the balance sheet or the income statement this year. Couple that with, the other side of it. We're really seeing some huge improvements, whether or not that's from the TRP agreement signed with Roslyn and our revenue numbers from both the new kids rink, the Victoria View Room, and just overall the busyness programming that's going on recreational wise at our Trail Aquatic and Leisure Center is really playing out. We had some really big numbers that really offset the loss of some of those expenses that we had unexpectedly. At the end of the day, we also know we had 2 unit running here, so we know that we can't always continue go 2 years where we've had low snow. Now, again, always wanted to let council and community know we employ the same amount of people. We don't lay people off if we have a low snow year. But what we do is we get them to get into our parks. They do trimming, they do cleanup, they do work on benches, or whether or not it's leaf cleaning, making our parks as beautiful. And one has to do is be out and see how nicely manicured they are. But that's what we do to staff. But we do get a savings from the fact that we're not putting as much sand down, which costs us money, the trucks, the fuel, all of those sorts of expenses. And so what we did see is, this has been similar for the last couple of years with this low snow year, where the transportation budget is underused, but the recreational budget is over. And that's, again, it's not a bad thing, that we're having staff work on, you know, whether it's maintenance and other parts of the park, tree trimming that will be, of value into the future. And, so it's always a balancing act. So if you're looking line to line, you might say, hey, this seems out. But if you compare it as a package, we did quite well. At the end of the day, on the operational side, we ended up with about a 300 and some odd $1,000 surplus. Council decided to use that to deal with the error in RDKB taxes from 2023. And so that certainly was apparent in trying to limit the tax expense for our residents and businesses in 2025. And so we used that surplus to pay that tax error down, and that assisted the community on an average home would save them about $45 in 2020. Sewer and water, again, doing well, and kind of staying within their means. We are continuing to build up the reserves there, knowing that we've got a lot of capital work that needs to happen. The water fund in particular, we've been able to boost that. Council also put some funds away, and that hopefully will ease off the pressure that we need to see on increasing the utility rate in water, due to the fact that the capital infrastructure deficit that we're in water, and as we wait on the master plan to actually get a really sense of magnitude, but we just do know that we are not collecting enough revenues from utilities to offset the operating cost and put the money that we need to put into the utility surplus or fund, I guess you would say, to be able to take care of the major capital that we see coming down in the future here. But that's work to do. Again, I commend council. It's not easy to increase those rates. I know that people are asking questions. It's a tight time. It's a time of uncertainty, but we are seeing the results of that. We are seeing the surpluses. We are seeing the rates getting to an area where we can start to, in a few years here in water, start to get more reasonable rate increases if we want to be able to provide the capital funding that is going to be required to keep up with the upgrading of our infrastructure, especially the water utility itself. Again, we're in a strong position, and one of the things that we're seeing is that we are now filling in so many of our management positions that have changed over, and I see 2025 number of pieces that are coming into place that really has set the foundation up for the management team here, and will serve you for years to come. And so I want to thank council. I want to thank their support and encouragement, not only to myself, but to my staff. It means a great deal how you have been willing to increase utility rates, approve the capital budgets that we have, invest in new equipment for our staff to make sure that they're doing the best job as they possibly can for the residents. And I really feel that the morale is really high, and I hear that from staff. Really in a positive place, and I want to thank the portion, because it does come from the top. And this council working together as well as they have has really been a major factor in that. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wilson. Does anybody have any comments on the annual report? I know you said it all. You said like how well we're doing. It is a time for celebration. I mean, we're in a really good place right now. We have a little bit of I feel good about the future going ahead and what that looks like. And yeah, I think we've done a really good job as council and should be proud of ourselves, actually.
It's an exciting time in the city of Toronto. That's how I feel about it. And we sense that not only from council, but even through our staff that are boots on the ground. I just they really feel the support from council. And I think that also is infectious. And I think even the community themselves, we get some really good positive feedback on what's happening.
Mr. Chair, it makes it easy to support staff when you have such a competent professional staff to work with. So it really makes it easy to give you that support. So thank you for that acknowledgement, Mr. McCurry.
Okay, so do I do these reports together or one at a time? Okay, so a motion to consider and resolve that the council of the City of Trail receive and approve the 2024 annual report as presented. Thank you, Councillor Benson, Councillor Butler, all those in favor? That was carried unanimously. Thank you.
Kudos to Claire. Very nice report.
Great. Okay, so we'll move on to the 2024 statement of financial information. Mr. McClure.
Okay, and I should have maybe mentioned, the annual report is something that is a requirement of the province. It's documented, and like you said, I think it's a valuable document because it is sort of backward looking, but sometimes we charge so quickly into the new year, we forget about all the successes of the previous year. Statement of financial information is also another ministry required document. And this document here not only is included in the, I didn't include the financial statements in this because we already have the annual report, but it is something that goes down to the province. But the major component of this is really a transparency document. In it being presented, what most people are wanting to see or wanting, or interested in is that caveat is for the ministry that all employees over $75,000, they need to be reporting what their wage was, what the wage was for the year and what expenses they incurred. Now, the other component is all the elected officials need to have what they were earning and whatever expenses they incurred. On top of that, any grants and or any vendors that we paid over $25,000 to need to be put on the list. Obviously, at the end, there's a summary of others that'll be smaller, but they're underneath the threshold, and that's the threshold that the province needs set up for those categories. An important document for the community to look at, in case you're wanting to see. It can be very uncomfortable for managers and other employees to have your name there, but that's the mandate, and it will be the same for the school district, the same for colleges, other entities that are required to report this type of information. And the other part is on the vendors, allows the community to look inside to see if there's anything of concern. Again, there could be something that may look out of place, and that allows the community to ask questions, not only at council. There could be an employee with an expenses that are way higher than maybe is than others or in other communities, and that allows us to say, hey, wait a second, we want to analyze that, we want to ask some questions about that. And so this is where this document becomes available. It'll be on our website, it'll go down to the province, and again, too, it's an annual document, and it's there for your review and hopefully
Thank you. Any
Just
questions?
a comment, I read recently, Mayor Morrison, I believe, Mayor Nelson, put forward a resolution or motion to have that threshold of $75,000 raised, and I have to agree with her. I think it's time to review it. I would be in favor of supporting that at any time, bumping it up significantly, because most of our staff now will fall within that $75,000 threshold, which I'm also happy to acknowledge as well. So thank you. That's all I have, Chair.
Any other comments? Thanks for bringing that forward, Councillor Cashel. I saw that too, and I thought that's quite interesting. We do need to bump that up for sure.
Remember.
Yeah,
I agree.
so maybe we'll bring that back in another.
Yeah, I know that this council, Mayor Morrison, they're not the only ones that have asked those questions, and at this stage, there has been no desire to make that change, but understandably so, because pretty soon there won't be anybody really left on the thing, and maybe some part-time people kind of thing, which isn't bad, but it is, I think, isn't sort of what the idea of the transparency piece is supposed to be.
Okay, if there's no other questions, the resolution is before you, and that is that council approve the statements and schedules included in the City of Trail Statement of Financial Information, Sophie, for the year ended December 31st, 2024, and produced in accordance with the Financial Information Act. All those, Councillor Martin, thank you. Seconder, Councillor Cashel, thank you. All those in favor? That was carried unanimously. Thank you. So we have one other item here that I want to just bring forward, and that is I'm bringing in from releasing it from closed. And that is the Maple Downtown Development Advisory Committee appointments. So the motion is that council appoint members two members to the Major Downtown Development Advisory Committee. And the resolution is moved and seconded and resolved that council appoint Councillor Hanson and Councillor Butler as the council representatives to the Major Downtown Development Advisory Committee, and that the appointments to the committee be released from in camera. Councillor Cashel, thank you, and Councillor Martin. All those in favor? That was carried, thank you. Correspondence for action. Now, this resolution is that council approved the $7,500 grant allocated under resolution number R 041-25 be reallocated from to the Stories to Solutions proposal to the Rural Resilience proposal as outlined in the June 11th, 2025 correspondence from Selkirk Innovates. So just a little bit of information for council. This is the funding that we approved back in 2024. We committed $7,500 towards a student intern as part of the Stories to Solutions proposal. And it was being developed by Selkirk College and Partners. The project was focused on regional homelessness solutions and included support from both Trail and Nelson. While the proposal was not selected for funding through the community, college, and social innovation funds, the student internship component jointly supported by MyTex is still viable for opportunity. So what Selkirk College has done is that they're putting a new proposal forward. And so the money is just changing from that proposal to this one. There's no more increase to it. The new funding is required, or no new funding is required at this time. So the city's involvement ensures continued collaboration with regional partners and progress on shared priorities. So the motion is before you. Is there someone to? Councillor Benson and Councillor Cashel, all those in favor? Thank you. That was carried. Okay, on to the RHG proclamation. That council proclaim August 9th, 2025 as Lieutenant Robert Hampton Gray Day in the city of Trail. So I want to make that motion. Councillor Martin and Councillor Wilson, all those in favor? That was carried, thank you. Do we have any more ideas on what the celebration is going to look like?
Thank you, your worship. I'm sure that Sarah Benson Ward will be updating you at our next meeting,
Okay.
but she's been working very closely with the Legion and they're being very cooperative and helpful. And I think it's gonna be more than what we're expecting. So.
Yay.
Little Caesar there.
Yes.
Okay, item C is resolution, council consider and resolve that council support or not support the request from Communities in Bloom to host the 2026 National Symposium and Awards ceremonies. Should I pass this on to Ms. Butler?
That's fine, thank you, through the chair. I think the information is pretty clear in the attached documents to this report. And we're basically asking council whether they would like to support this or not support it for 2026. So we do need a resolution either way.
Councilor Cashel.
Happy to speak to it first.
Okay,
I think we're missing some key pieces here before council should be asked to approve this request. Firstly, there's been no documentation provided by the Trail Community in Bloom Group that this request was approved by a resolution documented in official meetings. This ensures that the request has been properly vetted and that it does meet with the majority approval of the group. As the council chair to the Community in Bloom group, I am not aware of any meeting where such a resolution was made. And the first time that I saw this request was when I read it on this meeting's agenda. Secondly, the resolution should include the justification for funding and expected outcomes and benefits of hosting this symposium. For something of this scale, which could have up to 220 registrants with an estimated budget of up to $125,000, I would expect that this request should be made by a delegation to this council. I would also expect a staff report concerning the level of staff and city resources required to host this 3 to 4 day symposium. And I don't believe that the June 30th deadline imposed by the Communities in Bloom National Office is reason for this council to ignore best practices and approve this request simply because we are under the gun to get it done before the end of the month. As a result, I recommend that council not support the request from Communities in Bloom to host the 2026 National Symposium Award Ceremony, and I'm prepared to put that motion forward if I may. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
So we need a seconder for that.
Yeah, we need a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Martin. Is there any other comments or anything? Councillor Martin?
As through the chair, sorry. As this is coming at us at the last minute, I see there's dates further on, 2027, 26, 27, and 28. If we go with Councillor Cashwell's motion to get a representatives here to do a presentation and a staff report, maybe we can look at a future time for this with more information. Just some thoughts.
I agree. So this did come rather quickly to council. I received a phone call from Alana and she talked to me about the deadline and I suggested that she get this on a council agenda as soon as possible because of the deadline. It did not go through the Communities in Bloom committee. It just came right here. So that's why you're seeing it firsthand right now. Because seeing the timeline. Councillor Benson?
Just curious, the letter from Mr. Rodley indicated that we were shortlisted, which meant we would have been long listed at one point, and there was no conversation of that, I assume, from your look right now.
Nothing that I am aware of, being the liaison to the group by council. I've never heard those discussions, council.
Councillor Benson?
Thank you, through the chair. And as much as, you know, you look at the economic opportunities with something like this, I think having rush decisions in a very busy year, 2026 is an extremely busy year for us. We have the 125th anniversary. There is Little League, there's lots BC Winter Games, there is a lot of time, staff time and whatnot. Oh, and an election apparently. I forgot, it's already happening. I think postponing it would be the most reasonable thing, not to put any additional pressure on staff or all of the things that are already going on in the community.
Councillor Benson?
Also provides them with opportunity to get a bit more settled based on what we're going to talk about. Yes.
That's my concern too, because we haven't completed that yet, and I don't wanna move forward without having the understanding of what that's going to look like. I think it's a big expense for us to commit to at this time. So, Councillor, if there's no other comments, I'll move with Councillor Cashwell's motion. Okay. So, and Councillor Benson seconded. Oh, thank you, Councillor Martin. So all those in favor of not moving forward with this at this time?
In favor of not.
Yeah, in favor of not. Okay, that was carried, thank you.
And those,
Oh, those opposed, Councillor Butler,
would you like that recorded?
thank you. Did you get Councillor Cashwell's motion? Did you? Thank you. Okay, you know what, my report, everybody has sort of touched on everything that we've done during the last couple of weeks. I just want to talk about the Keeping It Rural Conference. I really enjoyed that conference. I thought it had a lot of really good information for us as rural BC. It really highlighted what's working in small towns and what's not working, whether it's housing, healthcare, forestry, tourism. Like, it was a really good set of different workshops that you could really get a good understanding of, you know, the inequality between rural BC and urban BC. So it was quite interesting. And not only that, though, it was about building those connections with the other smaller communities, rural BC, that are going through the same things we are. And I know we say that over and over again, it's about making those connections. But more often now am I hearing that people have spoken to other smaller communities and bringing their issues to the table, saying, oh, this is what, you know, Nelson did, or this is what a small town in the Okanagan did. And I think it's really, that kind of conversation is really important. And also, you know what, it's not just about listening, that's taking those ideas and putting them into action, and just being able to have that other smaller community out there that you can reach out to and get some good information. And the reason it happened, why it matters for trail, and I really wanted to make sure that I spoke about this, because quite often we get asked about going to all these conferences and what do we get out of it and what's the purpose of it. And it's really helpful when we're connecting with other rural communities and talking about what's going on in our community, and they're talking about what they did in their community. So we know it's already been a win-win on over there. We get it to bring it back to our community and put it in place here. And knowing that someone else has already done it, so either we make it better or we do this new work. So I think it's really, really a great idea. Just building on those relationships that we have out there and making sure that we keep those strong, because I know we've said it before, if it's happening in one small community, it's happening in yours. And it's just a really good opportunity to talk about also the good work that we're doing in our community and share what we did with the shelter, and, you know, all the complications we had, but then what we got out of it and how it's working for us. And it's good for other communities to hear about that. So I really thought it was a great conference, and yeah. My biggest workshop that I really got a lot out of was the rural healthcare one. I thought that, just for some reason, I don't know, it was just the timing, I guess, because then we came back and heard about the lab being shut down. So we know there's inequality out there with rural BC and urban BC, and yeah, we just have to keep working on that and just keep talking about it. Also, the next day, no, sorry, the following week. Councillor Martin talked about it. It was the First Nations cultural sensitivity and humility training with the regional district. And that was another good day that we spent working together with the regional district and other directors and councillors. And it's really becoming clearer and clearer to me as we do the work that we're doing with the Indigenous group. And I don't know how council feels about this too, but I feel really disrespectful or when I can't do a land acknowledgement for my community. Because all the ministries are doing it, the regional district does it, every workshop we go to, they always stop and do a land acknowledgement. So I would really like us to maybe pull the report that we got when I was on council. So Paula, help me out here. I can't remember what year that was, but Sarah Benson Lord came to council with a proposal, and I'm just hoping that maybe we can bring that forward and have another look at it. We also did, as Jared mentioned, the knowledge sharing and learning tour in Trail. With the Trail Area Health and Environment Committee. And the purpose of that tour was to since the election, we have a lot of new members on there and now that a lot of new ministers or, provincial, staff that are working on that committee. And they've never been to trail, they don't see what we're going through, they don't see the work that we're doing. So we sort of thought we would try once again to see if we could get the tour going, and actually we sent out the invitations. And people acknowledged it and they wanted to come and see what our community is doing. And as it was really exciting to show them, because they really had not, one person, two people had been to trail before. So no idea what, how our community was situated in the valley with the tech up there, and just gave them a better idea of what it really looks like here. We took them on a walk the first night up Elder Trail. And we got to the top of the trail and it was a beautiful night. It was beautiful. It was a clear, you could see the river, the valley. It was just perfect. And they really got to appreciate the dynamics of Teck and the river right there and the land. And yeah, they were actually in awe. I hadn't been up there for a long time, so I forgot how beautiful it was. So it was really good to be able to, unfortunately did not make the tour of the Teck with them. Counselor Hanson did. I'll get you to report on that, how it goes in a sec. But it was good for them to get that hands-on, really see it and feel it opportunity. I think it's going to be good for our committee moving forward when we're talking about certain things, when they're on Zoom and we're in the room. And then on that night, we also had a knowledge sharing and learning committee meeting.
We had the Health and
Yes.
Environment Committee meeting, the official committee meeting.
And there was 24 of us in this room. It was absolutely unbelievable, but it was everybody that was on Zoom is usually on Zoom or in the room. So it was fun. It was quite exciting to have everybody there and very loud, and yeah, lots of good conversations. And yeah, it was a good couple of days and I'm glad we had that opportunity. I don't know, Counselor Hanson, if you wanted to add a bit to that.
Yeah, I
'cause
just
I didn't go on the tours.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a really incredible opportunity just for the people that are in Victoria and Vancouver, that are the ones approving, permitting and, solar mediation, and to really understand the dynamic of our community. So it was a really great opportunity for them to see where it is and what it is and how close things are, and understand, kind of the age of the homes and, homes that have lead paint in them, and all of the, things that are in consideration with the Trail Health and Environment Committee and the program that's evaluated. The tech tour was incredible. It was actually the first time I've ever been on site, and I've lived here for 16 years. So that was a really neat opportunity. And to see where Councillor Benson hangs her hat, and the research facility there, and the amount of incredible work that's done right out of Trail. So really a great experience, I think, for everybody, just to understand how everything works together, and great presentations from the staff up at Tech. Just explaining kind of how their procedures and controls and everything, and it was really nice to just gain a deeper understanding. And the Assistant Deputy Minister for Ministry of Environment, she just was really impressed, as well as some of the other directors and managers of environment as well. So I would say very successful
Mhm,
as a whole, and a deeper understanding of our community.
I agree. Thank you. So on June 18th, I attended the Kootenai Columbia Learning Center grad ceremonies, and this year there were 17 grads. And the city of Trail gives $1,000 to a student. And it was once again really it was a great little ceremony, because the teachers actually take a lot of time and they do a real personal story and presentations to each of the kids that get up on stage. I guess they're not kids, but young adults that get up on stage. So it was a really nice ceremony to attend. And then on June the 20th, I attended the J. Lake Crow graduation class of 2025 in the gymnasium. And there was 165 grads. And it actually worked out quite well. I mean, in the beginning, they were worried it was going to be too small. But I mean, the bleachers were full, and there's still more room in the bleachers, and the floor was full. and all the presenters were on stage. It was really got tightened up, even the ceremony. We were out by 8 o'clock, but every child, every grad got a story told them about, them as well, and they told a little bit about themselves. So, it was very personal. And it was very well organized, and I thought that I was a little bit worried because there was so much concern about the size of the gymnasium, but it worked out really well, actually, quite well. And on Sunday, June 22nd, I did speak at the International Indigenous Day, and it was a nice event. The weather, clouds parted and the sun came out for a little bit while we did our presentation and had our speeches. And it was really nice to be a part of their cultural dances and food and music. And they had art out there, some of their crafts, and it turned out to be really nice. The longer the day went on, the more people that showed up. So yeah, that was a really nice event, and I was glad to be able to attend that. I think that's all I have to report. I feel like I'm missing something. Pardon me? FCM?
Did you?
No, we're absent. So that's my report. So we have some bylaws for consideration.
No, not tonight.
Not tonight, okay. We have a notice of motion, that was submitted at the June 9th, 2025 meeting by Councillor Cashall.
Thank you, Chair. Do you want me to, I'll start with my motion, and forgive me for the whereases. I've got, I may have overdone it on the whereases, but bear with me. I did make this the notice of motion at the June 9th, regular council meeting. Motion, whereas the Communities in Bloom program is a national and international initiative that fosters civic pride, environmental responsibility, and beautification through community participation, and has been operating in Trail since 2001 by Dan and Lana Rodley. And whereas participation in Communities in Bloom can promote tourism, community engagement, and local economic development while encouraging environmental stewardship. And whereas in 2012, the city hired Nielsen Welsh Consulting to conduct a review of all council committees. To quote from page 30 of their report, in Trails committee system, the Communities in Bloom Committee receives significant public dollars for its functions. The report does not suggest that any public funds are being misused by the committee. The report raises instead concerns with the way in which funds are managed by the committee and monitored by the city. Page 41 states, Communities in Bloom, it is suggested that that council recast Communities in Bloom as an independent nonprofit society. And whereas in 2018, Trail Community in Bloom hired Rachel Brown Contracting, which still anchors and supports Trails Community in Bloom to present day. And whereas during the November 12, 2024 Governance and Operations Committee meeting, council, acting on a recommendation in Ms. Butler's staff report, unanimously voted to delete the Community in Bloom Select Committee terms of reference and for the Community in Bloom Committee to be concluded. And whereas during the April 14th, 2025 regular council meeting, council passed a motion to approve the Community in Bloom 2025 budget of $145,000. Therefore, be it resolved that council directs staff to prepare a report for the September 8, 2025 council meeting outlining the potential benefits and challenges of Trail participating in the Community in Bloom program, the estimated costs and resource requirements involved in participation with reference made to the MB Landscaping current contract of $133,000, $133,250. A review of how many other similarly sized communities have successfully implemented the program and any recommendations regarding the feasibility of future participation by the city of Trail. And that is my motion. Thank you, your worship.
So, through the chair, that would be Councillor Cashel moving the motion, and then you would require a seconder before debate.
Thank you, Councillor Cashel. Is there someone to second this motion? Okay, Councillor Martin. And so now that opens the floor for debate. Any comments or questions about the motion? Councillor
Just
Benson?
question through the chair. So my interpretation of was at our last meeting. When we had Mr. Smythe here. And we asked them to come back with a governance model or proposal. So if they come back with a proposal that differs from what staff recommends, how do we reconcile those perspectives? Are we able to compare side by side, or what are you thinking?
Well, I think the staff report will put us in a better position to analyze the proposal. I think that, it's background information, it's relevant information that we can use to our advantage at that time. To analyze their proposal, does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So we'd accept it and we would kind of do
Make a
both at the
decision.
same time. I like that.
Councillor Martin, did you have a hand up?
Nope.
Oh, Councillor Hanson? Okay.
Yeah, so, thank you, Councillor Cashel for putting this together. I think a lot of us have been kind of thinking around the logistics of how this works, and there's a lot of moving parts of trying to figure out the total costs, the things that, maybe are more in the city's realms, the things that are more communities in bloom, appropriating a budget, in advance, maybe without an expectation of a secured amount every year. And really having more of a proper hierarchy of a society as opposed to a city committee. So thank you, Councillor Cashel, for putting this together just to kind of clear up for me. Because I don't know enough about communities in bloom and how other communities are doing it. So to be able to understand that a bit better, I think is really important for us in making decisions. What other communities of our size, how are they doing things? For us to compare and contrast and then be able to make more thoughtful recommendations on funding models.
Councillor Butler?
Sure, my question or my comment is just, are we doubling up work here over the summer with Communities in Bloom, putting their proposal or their ideas together? And then staff also doing something, so I'm just wondering, would it be smarter if there was a bit of a collaboration piece in here so that it comes back in September with more of a,
Just through the chair, from our last meeting, when we did have the delegation, Mr. Smythe did reach out to me and asked if we could have a sit down, talk about what their proposal was going to look like. I said, sure, come back to me with dates, and I have not heard anything since. So from a staff perspective, I think we can do this report, and if something happens in the meantime,
take it into.
we can take
Yeah,
it into consideration.
Perfect,
Councillor Hanson?
One thing I did learn at the last meeting was that they ordered their flowers in October, so. Just to maybe communicate that this is happening, because last time I believe they're ordered, even though we were already starting this discussion, so maybe letting them know what our intent is if they are gonna stay as just not to spend in.
I think we have done that, though.
Okay.
We've told them we need a decision by the end of October of 2025.
Okay.
And we've already been going through this for how many months now? So July, 5, 7.
Okay, I didn't know about the 2020.
Yeah.
2025.
So we've been talking to them for almost 6-7 months, and we still haven't gotten anything from them. And what I like about this resolution, and thank you, Councillor Cashel, for putting it forward, makes us get the information on the table so we can have a decision. And I think that's what we need to do, and that's what we've been holding off on, hoping that we were getting more information and we haven't gotten it. So I'm looking forward to the report. I really am. I think it's what council's looking for. Any other comments? No? Okay, So, we have a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? That was carried unanimously. Thank you. So the next meeting, July 21st, 2025, for the committee of the whole and the regular meeting. There is a question period here, but I also have a question that I wanted to forward.
Yeah, I'm just checking to see.
It's on the meetings.
Oh, sorry, we do have two. If any of those attending via Zoom would like to ask a question of council, please use the raise hand function at this time.
Why is I gotta turn on?
I see none.
Okay, I just have a question. I had a younger gentleman come to me. I want to say he was in his 20s. And he was asking me and questioning me about having a delegation or getting that petition to council for a outdoor basketball court. Apparently, we have no outdoor basketball courts in a trail. We have the one at Sunningdale has one hoop, so they can't play games. And apparently, there's quite a league of these guys out here that are playing basketball. The one in Annabelle is not big enough. They can only have 4 guys on at one time. And so it's it's a really small one, which they've been using. They've tried to go to, and play in Sunningdale, but there's one hoop there. And they don't know if that's big enough, ground anyway, a big enough, space for them. So he was asking me what they can do to get this issue of the basketball court to council.
Can I just mention one thing?
Yeah.
I do take my nephews up to the field house. And they actually have a full court there outdoor. Maybe they don't know about it, but, and I'm
Is
pretty
that
sure,
open
well,
in
I'm
the
pretty sure it's
evenings?
open to the public. Like there's a gate around it, but it's never been locked when I go up there. Just so you know, and it's
Yeah.
new, when we were in high school, it was not there. So it's right, well, I'm sorry, I called it the field house, I don't even know if they
Right
call
in the
it.
grounds.
Yeah, I don't know if you
Is it
call it the
outside?
same way, yeah, right outside. Yeah, it was news to me about a year ago.
Apparently, there's quite a few teams. They have 5 or 6 teams, a league going on,
Yeah.
but. And they said it's the most popular sport among teens right now, is outdoor basketball.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if we could check if that's a public one or if it's the schools, but it's been open every time I go up there.
Okay. I did not know about.
Yeah,
Oh, I
And-
was that.
Council Benson,
I was just wondering if there was any information to share about Canada Day.
As far as what the schedule
Yeah.
is. Well, my understanding is, yes, we've got a plan. I'm not sure exactly where it is as far as posted out, in the community right now, but there is a schedule as far as when when we're seeing on Canada, the music and, different, activities that are involved.
Okay.
Again, I don't know where it's at as far as where it's been communicated out to the community. That's a good question. I don't know.
Okay.
Let's see if we check on that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, what should I do? For the basketball courts, I mean, it becomes a bit of, they're looking for a new court. Where they think that would be and the funds to build a court and then who's looking after that court once it's been built and. Does it become a city asset where we're booking court times and all that type of scenario? So I would say back to this person. To formulate what they think they would be their ultimate choice and propose those questions to them and then come to council with maybe some of those boxes ticked that they think we should be building a court here or there or and they plan on doing fundraising and
Yeah, in Nelson, there was a basketball society, I guess, which again, it has exploded as far as across our region. And so, And they were able to work with those that donated their time or donated their construction experience. There was sort of, city was able to, they asked about for a space. And but they also were able to get funding from Simone. So. Well, it's two as like the fund, those types of activities.
Okay. It almost sounds like it's gonna be like the skateboard society again.
Yeah, probably, but
Yeah, and then so they build it and then the public uses it.
well, I mean, again. That's the purpose if you're going to build something on public land, unless they're gonna find their own land, fence it block. Do that sort of, should come to the city, they should just probably see if they can get their own lot or. If they're trying to create that, it would be difficult. That would be the option, they want an exclusive use. Certainly cities going to make sure that it's public use, which like the school district is public use.
Okay. Thank you for that. Is there anything else, council, before we move for agenda? No? Okay, I made a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Councillor Benson. Is there a seconder, Councillor Hanson? All those in favor? It's carried, thank you.